Switching gears real quick. We're in Las Vegas right now. Obviously, I'm out here getting prepared for the August 26th date, Mayweather versus McGregor. You're a man in both worlds.
Yeah.
Boxing and MMA. You, of anyone, would probably have seen more matches in both sports.
Yes.
Probably seen the most styles in both sports.
Agree.
Definitely understand the art of the science and of the martial arts. Does Conor McGregor have a chance against Floyd Mayweather? Probably, you know, one of the greatest of this era. I mean, I can't see it.
Right.
But he's training, he's working out. He had Paulie in camp for a couple weeks. Does he have a shot?
You know, I get that question all the time, man.
I know.
I get grandmas and grandpas and people that don't know boxing. Everybody's talking about the McGregor Mayweather fight. And does he have a chance? You know, I'll give you the perspective of how I look at it as a cutman. All right, and all it takes is one shot, man. I've seen it many times. You know, all it takes is one shot, and sometimes styles don't make a difference. That's why I always prepare for a worst case scenario. But taking that aside, let's say there's no cuts, there's no bruising and all that. Style-wise, nah, it's like a softball player trying to play in the major leagues. You know, it's two different styles entirely whatsoever. Entirely whatsoever. And, you know, when Floyd has the advantage of boxing, which is his specialty, and Conor, listen, taking nothing away from Conor, man, he's a tremendous fighter with a great chin, and he could crack, you know, so the early rounds could be dangerous. You know, it would have to be a close combat for Conor McGregor to have an advantage. On the outside, man, you know, it's a cutman's dream. Floyd would just pick him apart, bam, 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 and he's, you know, because he does cut. He cuts and he swells, you know. So you know, we were talking about rounds earlier, right? Yeah, I think you were saying earlier some of the earlier rounds, but I said, you know, mine would be like 8 or 9, but he'd be tenderized as he went, and to the point where if the referee did stop it, the doctor would. If the doctor didn't, then maybe the corner should. You know, but early on, you know, it's going to be a war.
You mentioned his power,
and the thing about it is Floyd's going to have to understand the MMA style of fighting because their whole technique is different. Their approach is different and all that. And he's going to, you know, if he learns to read it, because these guys grapple. So to hold somebody and get them out of their rhythm is one thing, you know. And so it'd be interesting, you know, to see how Floyd reacts to that type of style. I know how Conor's going to react to Floyd's type of style. It's not conducive to his style of fighting.
Well. But you mentioned the you know, the grappling and being on the inside and everything. Just talking about that and his power, all that is going to be somewhat affected by the gloves, is it not? I mean, I know, you know, he's used to wearing 4-ounce gloves, you know, with his fingers coming through.
Yeah, well, guys get knocked out with 8s and 10s, man.
That's true.
So, you know, that's what I'm saying. You know, a lot of guys get knocked out. So, and that's how I look at it. I look at it as, you know, there's a saying in boxing that the only thing that counts is the truth. You know, well, does McGregor have the power to knock out a Floyd Mayweather? Yeah, he does. Absolutely. Does he have the style to beat a Floyd Mayweather? No. You know, now he don't. Does Floyd have an opportunity to knock him out? Yeah, he does. And with combinations, you know, can Floyd pick him apart? Yeah, he can. You know, so those two styles, but there's always that one shot, brother.
Yeah.
I've seen it many times. So I never say, no, he's never going to win. I say he has that little bit. That's his window of opportunity. And if you don't take advantage of it early, maybe the first 2 rounds, then good night, Charlie.
Have you been keeping up with all the headlines and everything that's been going on with the fight, or just seen any of his pictures on Instagram? I mean, I think there's been a couple crazy pictures of him like beating down one of the sparring partners on the mat and everything. I mean, can you assess anything? I mean, is he is he taking it seriously to the point where he's trying to learn boxing, or do you think he's going to come in and fight with his same type of striker style that he does inside the cage?
Yeah, I wouldn't try to teach him how to box. You can't teach a guy how to box in 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. You know, work on what you've been working on, cutting the gap, and you got to move your head, brother. You know, so if you don't do that, then it'll be a long night.
Did you see the his fights with Nate Diaz, both of them?
Sure.
Do you think? I mean, obviously, especially in the second one, you know, he dropped Nate a couple times.
Yeah.
Nate got up, and it almost seemed like Nate was coming on stronger in the last round, maybe round and a half, maybe even 2 rounds. I mean, there were points where it looked like Conor kind of turned his back and ran away to buy some time. Yeah. Is that can you take anything away from that? Is that a sign of anything?
No, not really. It's 2 different styles, man. You know, Nate Diaz. Nobody's going to duplicate Nate Diaz, number one, and 2 different styles of fighting. You know, and the mentality coming into this game, it's going to be entirely different going into that game. You know, so I don't see that as an issue.
Well, is there anything Floyd has to do differently, just because he is fighting the unknown, I guess?
Yeah, the only thing for Floyd, I would say, is learn how to work in close. That's his only danger zone, is in close. And like I say, these, you know, MMA fighters, they're grapplers, so it's easy to, you know, grapple and you know, you might be able to put a little bit more pressure on the rib or something like that as you're grappling. And so those are the things that you got to work. You know,
he seems like he'll be comfortable on that. I mean, every fight I've seen him in, he'll stand right on the ropes.
Well, now keep in mind, everything is balance and style, right? See, Conor McGregor's used to coming down and working on that. Boxers work stay up. See, so that's a different position that I'm talking about that Floyd's going to have to be aware of. You know, because you know these guys shoot. So if he comes down and, you know, ties him up that way, then you know that'll throw him off. And that's the thing about it is, does Floyd adjust to those type of, because that's a different angle that's never been approached to it. So.
Do you think it'll be a rough fight like that? Like, do you think Conor?
He has to fight like that. Conor has to fight rough. No, there's no sophistication in his game. He has to fight the way he's always fought, and that's ballsy. You know, he'll come to fight, no doubt about it. You know, so you know, I first time I met Conor was in Stockholm, Sweden, for the UFC when he fought, made his debut, I think, and he looked impressive, man. So I go to the dressing room and talking to him and John Kavanagh. And I said, man, you know, the Irish, they're like the Mexicans of that side of the water. You guys come to fight, man. And he does. He comes to fight. So.
Wow. Well, that's the one good thing. I mean, the people that are complaining and poo-pooing the fight and whatnot, the good thing you can say is that he does come to fight. So he's not come to lose. No. That's for sure.
No, I tell you what, he brings a lot of special values to his game. His marketing skills are phenomenal. You know, it's just what he's done to get to this point. You know, plus he can fight. Yeah. You know, and the thing about it, his style of fight is very unorthodox. You know, so you know, you have to learn how to read that.
Does this fight change the landscape for MMA? I mean, just this past week, Jose Aldo is now working with Robert Garcia, which is like, whoa. And, you know, I mean, I think some of these guys are actually considering jumping into boxing and possibly making a little more money.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I didn't know Jose Aldo was with Robert, but if you saw Dana's shirt, it said Zoo for Boxing.
I saw that.
You know, so it throws out a question of, what's going on there? I don't know, you know. But, yeah, you know, these guys are starting to be aware of what Conor's doing to the landscape of the financial issues of fighters. He's like the Kurt Flood of baseball. You know, he changed the demographics of what's going on in MMA, or he will, or he should. You know, if he's getting paid all this money to sell himself, then there's money to be made for these other guys that sell themselves.
I was just about to ask you, do you think it will actually change?
Sure. I think so. It should. You know, it should. You know, there's a lot of money to be made, and, you know, that pie has to be split a little bit bigger than it has been, you know, and I think if, you know, you could do it with a Conor McGregor, but if a Conor McGregor could have it done, then why can't these other guys? So.
What if everything just goes bad for him on October 26th, and he's pieced up. Does that do damage?
Well, what would you consider bad though?
I don't know. Maybe
First round knockout.
Possibly, or it could be 2 to 3 rounds of their Arturo Gotti fight, Mayweather Gotti.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't a first round knockout, but it wasn't pretty for Gotti. You know?
That's why I always say the fighters could be way bigger than the hype. And but he'll come to fight. I mean, he's going to leave his soul in the ring, no doubt about it. How long it takes, that's a different story. So, and like I say, we're all armchair quarterbacks at this time, Ben, and what we say don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Until something happens.
Yeah, I think it could potentially, if he gets just embarrassed, I think it gives, certain people, guys like Dana White, the opportunity to say, "I told you so."
Yeah, of course. So. Yeah, of course you would hear that.
I told you we shouldn't have done this. And then things could go back to the status quo. I
don't know, man. I hope Dana wouldn't tell him that, because from what I just read, UFC's getting like 20% of his purse and points.
They're making good money too.
Yeah, they're making a lot of bank on Conor McGregor. So why would you disrespect him by, telling him that you didn't belong doing that? What he did, I got to give Conor all the credit in the world, man. I say he's the biggest bank heist. This is the biggest bank heist in combat sports history. Nobody has done and nobody will do what Conor McGregor has done in getting this fight August the 26th. Nobody. So I got to give him props for that, man. I got to shake his hand and say, you know what? You outsmarted everybody, brother.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely, man.
Did it quickly.
Bless his heart. Yeah.
He did it quickly.
He did it quickly.
And that's impressive. You can't knock that.
No.
That might be a world record, fastest to however much.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
The attention he's drawn worldwide on this fight was because of him, and what better counterpuncher than to have Floyd verbally to go at each other. You got the best guy in MMA that could talk, and the best guy in boxing that could talk, and clash them both together, man. It's a dynamic show leading up to the fight. Let's hope that the fight's just as good.
I think there's a lot of because just realistically, if you think about the sweet science, I mean, he shouldn't even. I mean, this guy's making his pro debut essentially against 49-0, which would never be sanctioned anywhere.
I agree.
Except Nevada. But I think that also speaks to the lack of knowledge for the sweet science and the difficulties. I mean, there's guys that have been perfecting their craft, their one craft, throwing hands, since they were 7, 8 years old, and those guys couldn't touch Floyd. So, realistically,
it's funny you bring that up. I love talking to you, Ben, because it's nice barbershop talk, right? So I was also reading where they decided not to bring in a boxing coach, because the statement that was made is, these guys are 49-0 against Floyd, so why bring in a boxing coach?
Right.
And to me, I thought that was the dumbest move I've ever heard. When you're at this A level, and that's why it's important to have a good management team behind you, a good team behind you that will guide you in the proper way. This just lets me believe that they're doing a disservice to Conor McGregor by not giving him as much knowledge of the game in such a short period of time to go out there and fight the best fighter in the world. It's to me, it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, you actually.